Hello and welcome to this week's Ante-Post advice. I'm afraid Ben Hutton can't be with us this week, but I'm joined by Trading Post Graham Rodway to look ahead to the Becher chase this weekend at Aintree. Graham, let's start with the favourite of the field at the moment, which is On His Own at 8-1. Quite a clear favourite as well. Is that fair considering he's fallen twice over these fences?
See, I wouldn't be too concerned about the fences because I'm sure most of us would agree that last time we saw the Grand National, it wasn't quite the Grand National that we all remember. I mean, they seem to be brushing through the top of them, and just like any normal fences, really. So whether although he obviously has come down there a couple of times, I'm not sure should read too much into it. Willie Mullins obviously thinks that he's got him on a good mark because he keeps running him over hurdles to protect it, and maybe he thinks that also. It's a long distance, isn't it, the Grand National, and you're never quite sure if your horse is going to stay the 4 mile, 4 furlongs. This is a slightly easier test, the Becher chase, and you know that On His Own is going to stay. So I think he's a worthy favourite. Willie Mullins obviously it seems to be staying true to his word that he's going to bring more horses over to contest the big prize in Britain this year. And he's got another favourite here. I'll be looking to take him on because he is still fairly short, but yeah, obvious chance.
And next down in the betting is Joined Together, who's ran really well over these fences. Second last year. What do you make of him?
Slow, yeah, very slow horse, Joined Together. Will be running on. I think we did in last year's race, if I remember rightly. He was flying home and didn't get there. Needs soft ground, I think, just to slow everything else up. I couldn't have Joined Together. I can see him getting round and I can see him running well, but I think he needs really heavy ground to slow everything up, and then he'll possibly have a chance of outstanding, but I don't think it's going to be soft enough for him.
No, it's forecast good to soft at the moment, isn't it? So who would be your selection?
I've been a bit of a soft spot for Roberto Goldbeck, who used to be trained in Ireland. I think he won a couple of Grade 1s in there. I certainly went close in a couple, and then transferred to Nicky Anderson's yard last year and absolutely bolted up on his first start for the yard at Ascot in their October meeting in what turned out to be quite a hot race. However, Henderson was trying to plot him up for the Grand National, and he took a real big hike in the weights after that, and really had no chance come the big day. But what's happened is he's gone back down the weights after a bit of spell in the doldrums recently. But I thought he ran another promising race back at Ascot last time. The race I think he won last year. He's back there last time, running on quite nicely, and that should have set him up perfectly for this. It seems to me that this time Henderson's thought, well, rather than go and win that race at Ascot, we'll build towards a shot at Aintree. He does look like the sort of horse who could make an Aintree horse. In fact, I think he was brought over with the Grand National in mind. Maybe he won't quite see out the 4 mile, 4 furlongs, but he should certainly see out this distance. And he's a class act if he comes back to his best. So I'll be backing Roberto Goldbeck at this stage.
And what do you think of Across the Bay? Donald McCain says he'll be spot on, and you've got to take note of his horses at Aintree.
Yeah, he's got a great record there, hasn't he? And he always targets runners there. And I'm sure that Across the Bay is going to run well. He's got particularly good form over this sort of trip, and he looks the type who's going to keep improving. He's still quite lightly raced, isn't he? Yeah, I completely respect Across the Bay, but I don't know. For me, he's still got to prove that he can make the leap up to this sort of grade. He's been at times running down in some of the lower class tracks, and he's still got to prove he's up to it. Whereas we know that Roberto Goldbeck, obviously being a former Grade 1 chaser in Ireland, has definitely got the class.
And what about Swing Bill at 20-1? He loves these fences, doesn't he? And he's run well. He ran 6th in the Grand National last year.
It suits his style of running, doesn't it? He's a big grey galloping type, and he just goes out from the front and blasts off. And he jumps for fun. He always has done, Swing Bill. I remember years ago he was with Hen Knight, and I remember backing him one of his early starts, and nothing's changed with him. He's still very, very consistent, goes out there, gives him his all, and he's bound to give a bold type from the front, you would have thought. He has been creeping up the weight slowly, though, and 6th in the Grand National last year was a decent run, but I just think that maybe he's treated up to his best, he's handicapped up to his best, and he's not getting any younger, is he now? So whether he's capable of finding any improvement to defy his mark, I would have my doubts.
So Roberto Goldbeck to win on the nose?
Yeah, all in to win. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Graham. Good
Cheers,
luck.
Tina.